way too many people look to Washington, D.C. for change. They think that the top down is the way to go. The president's going to change everything. Congress and the Senate is going to change everything. Tell us about the importance of local elections, because that, I believe, is where the real change happens and where we can have the biggest impact. So tell us about the importance of local elections, why they matter, and maybe even matter more when it comes to changing our communities.
Right. Well, and this answer won't be probably the answer that a lot of libertarians would give. A lot of times it's like, oh, your school boards are important. They pick curriculum, or, your taxes or your roads or their people around you. And yes, that's all important. And I talked about the relational element. I think we should try to be influential in our communities and know people. And you're not going to know probably your national congressman. You have a chance to know and influence your mayor, especially if he's non-Christian. You might be able to speak into his life or convert him. And if he is a Christian, you can confront him when he's acting not like a Christian, right? But I think the most important reason is that if there's a socialist revolution tomorrow and they send roving bands out to steal your property, it's going to be someone local. They're not going to send someone from Washington, D.C. It's going to be the cop down the road. It's going to be your city council that either stands up to them or agrees. And that's obviously the most extreme version. And I'm not saying that's always a foolproof. The armies do exist, right? Eventually, people do sometimes send armies of 50,000 men to terrorize it, but then they call that a civil war. But at least make it costly. Everything is on the margin. Make it costly for the federal government to overstep. Make them enforce it. And I'm not talking about the most extreme, they have to send an army, but it's like I said with the yellow tape. Make them send state police to do it in every single community where they have to keep putting the yellow tape up every single day just to keep the kids off the playground. And eventually they'll stop because they'll run out of tape and they'll run out of state police. And that's a silly example, but that's the way it is with everything. We hear words and we think, oh, we have no choice. There's this law. We have to do it. We have to do this. And with computers and communication, it's a practicality discussion on everything. But stand up against unjust laws. And you can't convince 350 million people across the nation you don't know to stand up against unjust laws. You can't hold Joe Biden or Congress or Supreme Court accountable. You can hold that guy standing over there accountable.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You can, and again, like we talked about earlier, building those relationships. If you have a good, close community, it's less likely that if they get that order that they might not enforce it, right? That, if you're close with Joe, the mayor, or Sheriff Dan or whatever, if he gets the order to come and take your stuff, maybe he might think twice about doing that because of the relationships that you built there.